Nice.
And he's been to a range. His father found a range down there. And they've got trails with 3D.
And how's his dad? Oh my God, we're talking about everybody. I didn't even ask. So how's Billy doing? Billy having fun? Good things with him?
I guess I haven't spoken to Billy in a long time.
Oh, okay. So things must be busy and good.
Yeah, I guess he travels a lot.
Right.
I guess he still works out of the house for the most part, but he travels quite a bit. He's at least a couple of weeks. Every
out of the month. Is he still in the same house since he arrived there? Where that would be his house now for quite a while.
Yeah,
wow,
I forget how many years.
No, that's good
5,
though.
6 years.
Yeah.
I lose track.
Right.
And even Richard, when they, like Matthew was 8 years old when they moved.
Right.
From here.
Right.
So
sure.
they were down there. Well, but yeah, as far as Richard's boys, they are both in Texas. They decide now, especially, they're both 18. They're both over 18, so they make their own decision, as far as, that they want to spend a holiday with the mother. They want us to go to see the father. Richard will bring them to Florida in a second. They visit every once in a while.
Right.
They might spend spring break down there. I know last year they did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's up to them what holiday,
sure.
what they want to do on the holidays. It's no more. Well, Mommy had him this holiday, and
right.
And Matthew's funny. He turned 18, and he's loved guns for years. And of course, it started with when he was told about his maternal grandfather.
Ah, right.
That he was I think he was attached to the 82nd Airborne.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But he was a chaplain.
Right.
And he died in Vietnam. His helicopter got shot down. But that started him with the Army and guns and everything. And of course, he got around me and with guns and everything. That's all we ever talked about. Within a day of turning 18, he goes down to Campbell and buys himself a shotgun.
Wow, there you go.
Richard had a fit.
I'll bet he did.
And it's like, well, I'm 18.
That's it.
There's such a different culture over there.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Over here, they're still passing new laws and outlawing more guns and everything else. I mean,
well, your state, you got the state where you count the bullets, right? Don't you have one of those count the bullets laws?
Everything
ridiculous.
Here
count the bullets.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, bad guys gonna like this, like any law. They couldn't even stop a Capone in the old days or any of these guys with the most draconian laws. You had the most draconian. The police had all. There was no Miranda. There was nothing, and there was death penalty anytime you wanted it. So in that era, if you were going to crack down, that would have worked. It didn't. So it's back to what the guy said before. Good for any kid who realizes, you know what, I'm going to be responsible, but I'm taking care of myself. I'm not going to have some guy or any bad thing happen one day. I'm just not, And on top of that, it's fine to go hunting. I think hunting is great for kids. It really teaches nature, in nature, outside of all the noise. Just get out there and see how it works. Oh, this is great. This is great catching up.
There's too many weird things. People don't like guns or they throw this other stuff. But you know what? Maybe you could do it with your show sometime.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, I'm kind of backtracking a little bit. But, like I said before about, like that woman who said, all these radical Democratic ladies.
Right.
Every place we turn around, we're being assaulted by the media saying, the country, this is the new mentality to come. This is the way everybody thinks across the country. Whether it's the liberals, whether it's the homosexual issue, whether it's gun control, whatever the hot thing is, right? All you're assaulted with is, the country is democratic, anti-gun, pro-homosexual, pro-abortion.
You got it.
Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And when you talk to people, you listen to people, I don't think that the majority of people, I think there's a lot of people like my mother who's just like, not that she particularly cares about homosexuals. She doesn't know. There's effeminate guys on a TV show. She doesn't think about it.
Right.
She doesn't get the the sexual innuendos that are coming out of their mouths. That
Right.
if it was,
That's right.
a straight white guy saying it to a woman, that the women's groups would all be up in arms about how filthy, But the thing is, if there was an actual unbiased poll across the country, I think there's a lot of people that don't think this way, that you're being told that, this is the way people think.
Right.
That I don't think this political correctness is as popular as you're being force-fed to
Absolutely.
think.
Absolutely. You know why? Because the people who do love political correctness, they absolutely always want the job of mouthpiece. This is their proselytizing by, nature. That's what they are. The crowd, Nixon coined that phrase. It's a silent majority. America does not want to run in the street every day over something. That's not what real people do. They work, they have families, somebody gets cold, they take care of it, there's snow, they shovel it. There's none of this activism. That MSNBC drives me nuts. There's no one on there that's ever level-headed. Everybody's coming after me like, easy. Who lives for this every day? You're right. They're still having the revolution of Woodstock, It's you turn on that station, you would think it was 1967. It is. It's insane. And there, that's the other. And everybody, I love it. Honestly, I will say, I get the good feeling from it, but it is comical that everybody on there is some group. There isn't a show. The gay guy's got a show. The Indian girl has a show. The African American girl has a. It's amusing. I mean, I like it. I don't like to see plainness. But come on, enough of yelling. But anyway, listen. That's what they do.
I get
Makes
a
them
kick out
happy.
of. You don't. There's a group. I don't know if you probably know them. I've vaguely heard. There's been a documentary. I saw it in the library one day. There was a DVD. There's some boy group. I think they're from Britain.
Oh, One Direction. One Direction.
One Direction.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. This is where we go with political correctness.
Why the hell does your cousin know that? It's a problem with me. Well, yeah, go ahead. What is?
They were in the news a lot.
That's right.
I guess.
They're always. I don't even know what they do. Yeah.
The other day, there was somebody on a thing.
Right.
Now, you remember about a month or so ago, the show Duck Dynasty out of Louisiana?
Of course. Oh, when that guy said that thing. Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, the father.
That's right.
The matriarch of the family.
Right.
Okay, he made some comment. So there was all this backlash.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, one of the guys from that
One Direction, right?
One Direction,
yeah,
turned around and said that he happened to like Duck Dynasty.
Oh,
okay, he's in America.
Yeah.
Here's a show. He turned on the TV, he saw the show, and he liked it.
Right.
This is all he said.
Yeah.
Okay. They started screaming. He supports the homophobic.
That's right.
Agenda.
You're a homophobe, right? Right. You're anti-gay.
Okay. You're supporting that. It's like.
Right.
All he said was he liked the show.
Liked the show.
He didn't say anything political. He said, I liked that show. He's from another country.
Right.
He turned on the TV. He saw a show.
Right.
That's what he knows. I liked it. I don't like it. I went to the store and I bought vanilla ice cream. I liked it. Oh, you're a racist and a bigot.
Yeah. What's wrong with you? You didn't buy any chocolate? What's wrong?
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean. Nobody in their right mind hears this stuff and says, come on. Now we're not allowed to have any kind of freedom of thought.
Disgusting.
It goes back to that.
Frank, let me ask you this on my birthday question to you. Okay. Is it possible in our lifetime they will loosen all the bolts, and when you and I are sitting around on a rocking chair, not able to hear each other correctly, but still trying to talk to each other, that the thing will already be in ruins, and this is going to be one life cycle? I mean, you and I are born into a world where people don't curse in front of women. They see a woman's pregnant, and they say, please take my chair. And they say, oh, how lovely that your wife loves the children, and she makes them sandwiches, and you work. All destroyed, eviscerated. It's going to be in powder in our lifetime, because I really feel, because you and I are not that old, we could probably have a couple of decades left of watching. And it's accelerating. Now they go, oh, Ed. All the young people around go, hey, Ed, you're so old. You talk like my But I'm not kidding. What is left of the Ozzie and Harriet that they hate? Every time they bring up Ozzie and Harriet, they hate it. Every time they bring up anything from the 50s, they hate it. They always speak with contempt about it. Well, all those people were racist. All those women were held down. Oh, yeah, and what about the oatmeal that went into the bellies of the children and they had a warm meal and they didn't have to go to school and get breakfast because the mother's on welfare? What about that? So I don't know. In our lifetime, is it possible that it could come loose, not be over, but that you and I will look at this in 20 years and go, wow, we saw every nut and bolt coming loose. What did you think? You thought it would stay intact? Am I too alarmist? Is that too alarmist?
I'll tell you the truth. It's going to take, if we stay on the present course, no. Because, as you were just saying that stuff and putting your question out there, I'm thinking, okay, we've got this extreme political correctness, but have you now maybe where you are it's different. I don't know. You've been in several different cities and stuff, so and you're in a more residential kind of setting now. But you look around you. Do you see what you got? All this political correctness, and we can't do this, that, blah 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 blah. All that diarrhea that comes out of their mouths. Do you see any more civility?
None.
But like you just said.
I can't even do it. When I do it, they look at me like I'm crazy. You hold the door and you say, "Good morning, ma'am," and she goes, "What?" I say, "Good morning, ma'am." Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Right. You try to hold the door for somebody. Do you see people holding doors for anybody else? Or like you say, getting up and offering a seat or just lending a hand? You know what? The 60s and 50s weren't perfect. But, up to a certain point, there was a modicum of respect for, if not authority figures, at least you just recognized that there were authority figures, that you respected your church and your pastor, you respected elders, you didn't backtalk your grandmother. If you backtalked your parents, you expected to get some kind of punishment and everything else. For all the political correctness, we still don't have any civility.
None. And they think it's not an essential ingredient. When you start pressing this point like I do, get very annoying with people. They get uncomfortable with me when I press it. I spoke to a woman the other day. She wrote this book. It's called Feminine Lost. Now, she's from Australia, so she's not even an American. She's looking at the world at large. And the whole book was a lament that women have rejected femininity. The extreme is where they just, have the baby, drop them off, and they don't even see their kid. They miss. But there's all forms of it. The masculine combativeness. Men were always like, guys, keep it down. We don't want to hear guys arguing about business, arguing about sports. That's all you guys do is argue. So women were like, oh, we have to learn to argue. We have to be disagreeable, too. We have to be guttural. We have to be disgusting. And then they took control of the sexuality. It's like, well, I'm going to wear something low cut because he's got a business suit on, and he's a guy, and he's going to have his advantage. So I'll be Erin Brockovich. I'll show my boobies, and then that will distract from him, and I will get the involuntary approval of guys that are fantasizing. That's disgusting. Where a woman used to say years ago, don't walk in there like that. They're going to see you. They're going to get the wrong impression. Oh, you're right. I didn't realize. I didn't even look. I looked. Yeah, you want to put on something that lets them look at your eyeballs. Years ago. Be smart. Use your brain. Don't use your... Now, today, it's like, what's wrong with you? You're not using your sex as well? You could be smart, but you better have some slut factor in there, or nobody's going to be looking at you. You're going to be too boring. You're going to be another... Oh, it's horrible. I can't... Well, anyway, a great visit. All I can say is thanks. Now, I'm going to call your mom maybe late today or tomorrow or something, so just tell her, be on the lookout, and I got the card. It's always, I can't stand it. My whole life, I struggled when I was like 8. Aunt Tina would say, now send out a thank you card. Now send, your cousin Frank's, she would say, your cousin Frank's birthday's next week. Write this, and I go, okay, later, and I would whine, and it was a big struggle, even as a child, to get it out on time. Now, do you know your mother has never missed getting it to me on time or early? On time or early, 57 times in a row. And I used to be, and guess what I told somebody that it's how old I am. Your mother, because my mother insisted on it, your mother, my mom's sister, what do you think we used to get as our title? It was Master Edward. Master Frank. Well, my mother would send you a card. Oh, how about you having that relationship with Antina? She goes, Frank always remembers. Do you know? My mother would say to me every time she got one of your cards, Frank always. I said, Mom, he likes you. Yeah, but she would always say to me, like, you could be more like Frank. That's what she was really saying. She was like, Frank, and I would go, easy. I do a lot of, but your cousin Frank. Oh, man. So what was your thing about Antina? You must have really knew that she dug on it, right? Because she got the whole thing was you half a day. Your cousin, it was always that way. And then when you were real young, it was Frankie. Frankie this, Frankie that. I'm like, oh, my God, Mom. And she would go, yeah. My mother took.
And you know what? From over here, I used to hear all the stuff about you.
Oh,
all the time.
Yeah.
I used to get my ass reamed all the time. Oh, he's always so polite. He's always so thoughtful. He's always dressed so nice. And look at you.
Getting
and
you
blah,
buried.
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I'm
and
burying
you.
you.
You that. You
I'm getting you buried.
I was the anti-Edward. That's why I hated you when you were a kid.
I love you, Frank. Frank, I love you so much. Do you know that? I swear to God, we've been hanging out. Aunt Addie hates this, right? This is Aunt Addie's stuff. I don't understand why you and Frank could be such good friends and you don't call John. I said, I'm trying. I called John. Wait, I don't understand. You and Frank, what do you don't understand? Frank and I grew up together. We've been playing together since Frank was 3 and I was 2. Well, I don't understand. You and Frank are such good friends. I said, I'm right. I said, I call, you know what? John has 2 voicemail from me in the last, the holidays. Just thinking of you, John, your cousin Edward. You know me. I'm always up for, let's get somebody else happy. Let's go do something with somebody. I'm always up for that. But you and I drive her crazy. But I love this, that when I was a kid, I used to get you reamed. They could use me to yell at you.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, you know what? Your Aunt Tina's crazy about you. Your Uncle Eddie used to think that you got away with stuff. Because, Frank, he goes, look at Frank. I guess you moved around a lot when we were kids, jumping around the room, I guess. Because Uncle Eddie would always say, oh, Frank, there goes Frank. And you were pretty nimble. You used to lead me into stuff. I mean, I look around the room and you'd be out of the room. So I would come looking for you to see what you were doing, always.
Oh, please. I was always antsy. I hear stories. I don't remember much, but it's like, okay, like one of the stories was when I don't know, I was in preschool. I remember the house we lived in. We lived in Norwalk. It was the second place we lived, and it was Christmas time. And my mother's on the telephone, and she hears this noise. Puts her ear off the phone, doesn't hear anything, starts talking again, and she keeps hearing this noise. It sounds like glass breaking. Well, I had gotten some gun or some cannon or something, and I was in the living room while she was in the kitchen on the phone. I was shooting the ornaments off the tree.
Firing away at the Christmas tree. Oh, you're the best. That's awesome. How about the one, now here's what you made me think of. Mars Park Avenue. It must have been a holiday or something. You and I are playing Superman, and I show you that we can jump off the TV and land on the couch. And then I get stuck between the radiator and the wall because I don't land right. And I'm screaming, and you're like, Edward's stuck behind the radiator. And everybody has to come running in the room. And I forget, it might have been your dad or my dad. One of the dads just lifted me out. But I was wedged in between a steaming radiator and the wall screaming because as Superman, I didn't land on the couch. I missed the couch altogether. That was not very... Yeah. Ah, jeez. Well, what else? Then I remember, and then I told this story the other day. I used to love to say goodbye from your house. Everybody comes down to the grass. Then everybody goes to the car. Then my father starts the car. Then you come to the window, and your dad says, all right, Eddie, you go up here, you make a left, you make another left. All right, Bruno, I think I got it. And then, your mother, all right, Tina, all right, if anything, don't worry, just tell him to make a left. And I'm sitting there going, what is everybody all about the left? But I guess my dad would be famous. Leaving your house, within 2 minutes, he's lost in the middle of Connecticut, and we can't get back to the Bronx. Oh, my God. So the goodbye. And then my favorite is when we're coming back from Canada. and Billy gets a load of you and is, Frank! Oh, man, after we had spent that time with Florence up there on Archambault, yeah, that was a long time. That was 70. That was 1970.
Yeah.
That was my graduation high school. That was the year Grandpa checked out. Blah, blah. Man, we could go on.
Yeah, well, that was the year of the World's Fair and everything, too.
Yeah, whoa.
Remember, it was in Montreal.
That's, you know what? I have a photograph. I have a photograph of us with the girls at the thing where you peek your head through the thing in the wall and everybody's head comes out in a cartoon. Remember that kind of thing? It's like laughing. You stick your head out and there's a big thing. I have a picture of Uncle John, the girls, you, all of us at that thing on my own camera. On my own camera as a kid. Yeah.
You remember the name of that? The World's Fair?
Expo 67.
Right, it was called Terre des Hommes.
Oh.
World of Man.
Say it again?
Terre des Hommes, the World of Man.
Terre des Hommes.
Terre, T-E-R-E-S.
Oh, okay. I got it. Well,
yeah.
I did not know that. I think of it as Expo.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Uncle John.
That's it, remember, and then the Montreal Expo was like the next year or something.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I did not know that.
Remember the Montreal Expos, and they had the same colors?
Yeah. That's it. Now it's coming back to me. It is coming back to me, right? What year did Florence and John come to Connecticut, do you guess? Because by the time I'm in high school, they've been there a little bit. When do you figure it's got to be between 70 and 73, because by 73 they're there.
I'm trying to think. I think I was 15 or 16
there you go.
When they were here. I think when I was 16 they were here.
Yep. Well, those were some good times. I remember when Uncle John got to town, baby. Everybody had a new fun uncle. Mr. Truck, Mr. Car, he did it all. Uncle John did it all. And it had the thing to me was always crazy in our family, right? Uncle Pete, 3 girls. Uncle John, all girls, right? Your mom, all boys. That's how our family did. They pick a gender and just go, baby. So I used to love Uncle John and the 3, and we had fun with those kids. It wasn't boring. Were you bored in when we went up for that trip in at Archambault and what's Farnham? Were you bored for that time we went up there?
No, it was different.
Right, it was different, but
it was different. You know, I guess I'd like the trip up and everything, but you know, again too. You know, that was a neighborhood, so I was kind of used to that. And, you know, we used to play in the woods behind the house. And,
right.
You know, back then, you know, you think it kind of goes to something you said earlier about the way kids live now and everything. When we were kids, we were on our bikes all the time.
Right,
and you probably don't remember what it's like around here that much, but our grade school was almost a mile away. It was just under a mile away from the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so we didn't get a bus. We would have had to gone up a couple of streets, so we walked. Well, we went back and forth. That's where we played. So like 10 or 12 kids would get on their bikes and ride down there. We'd be playing baseball or football or something. And then we'd get on our bikes and we'd go downtown. And nobody thought anything. You know, you'd come home and say, okay, listen, you know, we're going to the sports store. We're going here. We're going there. And the bigger one is when we got, again, there was a mix of ages and stuff.
Right.
Back in the 60s, the New York Giants, their training camp was at Fairfield U.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to pedal all the way up to Fairfield U on our bicycles to watch the Giants practice.
Wow.
You know,
That's
I get in the car and it takes me almost 10 minutes to get there.
Yeah. How cool was that? Now, see, you got me thinking. You know what I was doing back in those days? Do you remember that you got the bottle cap off the New York Giants to get the free football? The soda cap, with the cork in it and everything. You had to, flip the top, and you would have a player's face in of the bottle top, and you had to take the roster, glue the coins, and then go down and get a free football. Also, do you remember this? You remember your cousin's bike used to get stolen? Every couple of years, Edward's bike was stolen again. Edward had that 26-inch Donnell British racer. Oh, that, boom, gone. Then we got him a 5-speed banana bike. Remember, they were called, it was long before there was a BMX. It was a banana seat. And Stingray, boom, that was gone. And then my father
had a shift knob or something on it?
Correct. 5-speed, baby. 5-speed, 5 on the floor I had on that bike. Red, it was red sparkle. It was bad. It was so. Of course, I used it on my job to deliver for the dry cleaner. Oh yeah, how long did that bike last? Boom, it was gone. So then I go to my dad. I go, Dad, I need a bike to go back to Freddie the dry cleaners. So then they got me the Jeep. They got me a bike with no speeds, no nothing. And my father said, they're going to steal it from you anyway. I said, oh, thanks, appreciate your support. That one. Yeah. Oh, man. What a great visit. All right. So this is my birthday present. Awesome. I can't thank you enough. Send your mom love. Everybody else, lots of love. And, I'll try her later today or tomorrow, but real soon to thank her.
Yeah, did you ever, you did get a hold of Florence, though, right?
I did, yeah, we talked. And she's another one. I'll probably call her right now, although she's going to be at work, right? At this time
Probably.
of the day? Yeah. And she works a lot.
No, the only reason I'm asking was I didn't even know anybody went away.
Okay, right.
But she came over, I don't know, she was here on her birthday. She came over, but I think she stopped over on a Sunday, the Sunday before that. And I heard something about you, and then, because then she called me, or she called the house. I picked up the phone, and she said, have you heard from Edward? And I said, no, I haven't heard from Edward, since around Christmas time. And she says, well, I guess what happened was she obviously went to Florida and didn't have her phone on or something. And I guess because they had to cut the visit short because of I guess it was that week of all the ice and crap that was hitting Atlanta and all around there. So because all the planes are going to get backed up and stuff, they got on a flight and they got out like a day early or something like that. So when she got home, she found all these messages from you. And then, so I guess she called and left you a voicemail, and she hadn't heard back from you. So that's what that business was all about. So it was like, I didn't even know you went away, so I don't know what you're telling me here. But
it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good. I love about Aunt Florence now, she still works. I think that's so good for her. I mean, it's not, obviously it's always good to have some extra cash in the budget, but I just think it's keeping her young. If you talk to your Aunt Florence, you know what phrase she used in her birthday card to me? What do you think your Aunt Florence wrote to me? Phrase.
No idea.
Yeah, colloquialism. Okay, this is your Aunt Florence. This is my godmother. I always say to her, I can't believe my mother put you in charge of me. If something were to happen, she had all these other... All right, here's what Aunt Florence says. She goes, sorry we didn't hook up in Miami. Hook up. I'm like, my aunt says hook up? My aunt says, so that's what I love. I love that Aunt Florence is plugged in, and she does like selling that jewelry. Do you ever go in her store? Do you ever get a load of her work joint?
I went in there once or twice to bring something into it. Other than that, no.
But it's nice. I mean, she's not in some bargain basement.
No.
Do you know, you'll love this story, and I'll let you go, so I don't know how long we're on the phone. When I'm doing comedy in 2004 and 5, I'm just beginning, one of the manager's girlfriends comes in and talking to Blue Streak about selling jewelry. And again, I don't even connect. She goes, well, I go all the way up to Fairfield, Connecticut. I said, shut up. I said, my aunt works in a jeweler in Fairfield. I said, how can you miss her? Florence? And she goes, you know Florence? I said, Florence is my aunt. She's so nice. And she knew the store. She had been servicing Aunt Florence's store with merchandise 2 years prior. So I heard about my Aunt Florence in a comedy club in Greenwich Village. There you go.
Interesting.
It is. Well, anyway, listen, love you.
That's what your uncle used to do,
Who? What? Oh, yeah, of course, Uncle John was the courier. What a bet.
Yeah, he used to run up to the Diamond District and bring stuff back.
Do you know how many times he and I would chat about that? He knew all of the shortcuts that I started to learn. I had to relearn, like if you're in Times Square and it's teeming rain outside and you got to go to the east side, but you got to get to the Diamond District, there's a way to go underground. Uncle John knew all of that, yeah. Yeah, I missed the whole thing, Frank, honestly. Every time I watch something on TV, the other night I watched some movie that came out. Oh, I know, Serpico was on. Now, when Serpico's in the movies, I'm hanging out with Dino and Gary. I believe we still had my band. I think that was the last year. I was playing the drums and singing. Remember that whole thing I went through? Edward's got a band. No, he doesn't. Edward doesn't even know how to play anything. It doesn't matter. Edward's in it. It's got to be good. Oh, jeez. I got away with murder, didn't I? You know what? I was an only child. Everybody's like, well, Edward's alone. So, let Edward play with your toys. Ask Edward if he wants to take it home. No, I don't think I have to. Well, Edward doesn't have any brothers and sisters. Edward's father falls asleep every night. Aunt Tina's... Oh, man. I cashed it in. I used to cash in.
Well, you know what? Because you were riding that wave of your Uncle Peter.
Absolutely. Didn't I? I caught the wave, didn't I? I caught the back end of that wave of being a boy amidst all of those Divisio girls, right?
Because that's what the big issue was with your Aunt Loretta.
I know. Oh, believe me.
Because the way all the sisters used to fawn over her husband.
Fawn, yeah. Hey, imagine seeing somebody you love being fawned over by people that love them and that upsetting you. Wow. I don't know what that is, man, but I'm glad I don't have it. I love when anybody gets fawned over in this world. In this world of death and destruction and horror and bad surprises every day, anybody who's getting fawned over is fun, as long as it's genuine. In other words, you know the story about the Aunt Tina apple pie, right? When Aunt Loretta said to Tina, you don't have to do that anymore. Aunt Tina was told her apple pies were not necessary.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Because she used to make it for him all the time. Because, you know what, there was something with the old man, too.
Yep. Yes, absolutely.
Because I remember there was...
Why, you touched his apple pie once?
You probably know the story. There was something about... grandmother used to make... I don't know, she used to use like a pizza pan or something to make this humongous pie.
Right.
And the first thing that she did is, once it cooled down, is she cut the thing in half. And okay, this is for your father.
Correct.
Which the grandfather.
Right.
And then the rest they would, parse up that night at dinner. But apparently it wasn't really not a normal apple pie. It was kind of thin, but it was made in like a 14-inch pan or something.
Yep.
And that was just normal.
And my dad liked a different kind of apple pie, so Aunt Tina baked 2 every time. This one's for Grandpa. It's flat. This is for your father. My father would go, I don't know how your grandfather eats that pie like that. Get his chunky pie. But what did Aunt Tina do? 2 pies every time. Yeah. Oh, man. Forget it. So anyway, it's true. It's my birthday, and I got that last wave of the Uncle Peter love. Uncle Pete could do no wrong, right? Grandpa never yelled at Uncle Pete. Everything, go get you. He would tell the daughters, go get your brother, blah, blah, blah. Ugh, forget about it. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, what do you think it went up a degree since we've been on the phone? Maybe it's 1 degree warmer since we started.
It might be.
It might be. Yeah. All right, listen, man. Have a great... What's that?
That's what it's been doing here. We've been in this pattern for a month and a half where... it'll do this where it'll get 30 or 40 degrees or something like that. I mean, Sunday was almost 50 here.
Wow. See, but that Super Bowl, I think, said something about that too. You guys had a warm snap in the middle of, yeah.
And then the next day it was snowing. We had 6 inches of snow the next day.
Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. I'm glad you mentioned the Super Bowl. In the day when you were really a football fan, when you paid attention. Would a dominant blowout be a bore for you? It wasn't for me. As a football fan, I love to see the superlative skills continue, or would you go, all right, who cares after it's a blowout? It was a blowout, but it had the greatest number of viewers ever. So I'm curious, when you used to watch, if you were bored or you were interested, what do you make of a blowout?
It's funny because at something like that, and I don't remember my history that well. It would depend. I guess like anything else, if it was a team you were rooting for, especially going back to when they started, like with the Jets and the Colts that time, because the mentality was, okay, you were from New York, so you were the Jet fan, but the mentality was, the NFL, not the AFL kind of thing. So if it was your team that was winning, that's always great. But in general, if it was two teams you weren't, particularly favored about one or the other, it was football. I mean, and the scores weren't always that big. Remember, you had the Jets. The other one was...
I'm thinking, now hold on. Was the Jets 13-7? Right? Were the Jets 13-7?
Something like that.
Something like that, right? Yeah.
And then remember, there was another one with the Minnesota Vikings and the Kansas City Chiefs, another AFL team. And the Chiefs, I think, ran away with it. And you would think, it was kind of like, like the Packers losing to the Bucks or something,
Right. Upset.
I mean, it's, again, another powerhouse.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I was just thinking, because for years and years, people go, oh, it's a blowout. Nobody, the Super Bowl can stink because it's a blowout. But then when I saw, and I thought myself, I liked it. I didn't watch it the whole game. I was doing stuff. I was doing laundry, cleaning. So I kept popping in the room. And I'm like, I still like this. I did like that I never heard of Seattle at all. I didn't know anybody. I didn't even know the coaches. I knew nothing. And they were this good. So to me, it made it a good game. But I said, I bet you the public is going to not watch this. It's kind of like that opening, the second half kickoff. When that went to Seattle, you could easily say in the old days, well, this game's over. This team is, Denver is just as flat after the halftime. There's no point in watching. But I don't know. It drew the most ever, so I was curious.
Well, my take on that is because they were just so, Denver had been such a hot team all season, and Manning and the way they just ran through the playoffs and everything. I think the expectation was that, and the same thing with Seattle, whether you like them, whether you don't like either one of the teams, they both had tremendous records. That neither one of them kind of skated in. It's like any epic battle. You've got two top people or two top teams. You expect it to be. You don't expect a blowout.
Exactly. Right. You think it's going to be a real well-matched contest. Right. So this was like skills on display. This was like when a really great team hits their stride. This is what everybody dreams about. Like every big play goes your way. Everything is about momentum. Everybody's alert. It was like that. I thought it was impressive.
Well, the thing is too, if you go back and look at some of the playoff games, it was the same thing. Who the hell was it? I can't remember now. Well, first of all, the Patriots. The Patriots, they lost, and it was like, did these guys even want to be here, or are they just phoning it in?
Right.
And there was another team the week before. It was the same thing. They were a really good team and everything else, and you really expected them to be come out on top, and it was the same thing. I mean,
you're talking about the San Francisco game where he jumped up and down and went nuts at the end?
Yeah, it was like they weren't in the game at all.
Yeah, they're a dominator. They're a dominator. I love that anytime you don't expect it, because it is a treat. For me, I'm really still just a Jets fan and kind of I'm an NFL fan. If the game looks good, I'll take a side and, for an hour or so. And then, it's not that big a deal. But I do enjoy what I bumped into the other day. I was like, all right, this is good football. They usually say that, the Super Bowl's not always the best football. Man, in spite of the score, I thought it was great to see all the skills on display. So, all right. Oh, and I forgot to ask now. So, you trained all your nephews on hockey? You should drive everybody to hockey. You showed me a DiPietro before anybody knew who he was I knew who he was thanks to you. You pointed him out to me. You're a hockey man, still a hockey man. So what about all of your nephews? Is anybody playing hockey the way you used to take them to hockey and drive them early?
Yeah,
No?
They all got out of it.
All right. Yeah.
Well, Jordy was in it for a couple of years.
Right.
And kind of faded. Matt stayed with it. He stayed with it in Texas. And then, I don't know, maybe junior high or something like that. I think he dropped it.
Right.
Tony, I don't know if Tony did it in Texas or not. I think he might have, because when they first moved down there was a new rink being built. Otherwise, and it wasn't that it was far away. They would have had driven like 10 or 15 minutes, like Matt used to do.
Right.
To the next town over to play. I know the first couple of times I went down to Texas, Matt was in the middle of his season. Matt stayed with house teams as well, which were just at this rink there's 3 or 4 teams depending on the grade levels,
right.
The different levels, the little kids in this age group, and you could be playing with that. They weren't travel teams. They wouldn't be going to other rinks and all of that.
Right.
None of them got involved in that. And the same thing with Tony. When he was up here, we used to do that.
Now, would you worry about them if they were in older hockey, college hockey? Or, I mean, at some point, is anybody going to get in there and not get all these crazy injuries because it's so, dangerous inherently? Not, that you're going to be put out of commission, but you're going to get banged up pretty young because you're playing hockey and, say, not baseball or tennis, golf.
Myself, no, because... I forget at what age it is now, because I've been away from that stuff for a few years now. But I don't think they even start to check until they're like 14 or something. So when you see these, 10-year-old kids out there playing, even the travel teams, they're not checking.
Right, which means they're not hitting each other for the sake of it, right? Checking is just to cut somebody's stride, slow them down a little, right?
When you watch the college guys and high school guys,
right.
Somebody's got a puck or, you're in the face-offs or whatever, when you intentionally go into somebody, that's all, hitting the guy, that's all part of it. When they're young, they're not supposed to be doing that, and they'll throw them in the penalty box if they do it intentionally. I mean, yeah, you bump into somebody, and it's just a matter of your skating skills. You can't stop, and you hit somebody. That's something else. That's just kids.
Right.
But, when you intentionally go after somebody and knock them off the puck, they don't want that. They don't want the kids getting injured, and they're all wearing helmets.
Right.
They're all wearing, you can't imagine how much gear these kids put on.
Yeah. Well, I know you're a big believer in it, and I think you got all of them exposed, and you got all of them really liking it, and I think it's a great developmental sport. It gets them to skate, it gets them to be competitive, it gets them to be, all the good things come out of it. So, I just know. So, what is going on with your Sound Tigers? How are they doing up there?
Oh, I have no idea. I haven't been involved with that in a while.
All right. Well, listen, great catching up. I miss you to death, and who knows? I'll be up soon. Who knows when? But one of these days I'll be coming up. Make sure the basement stuff doesn't get and if you need something to stop any kind of leak, shove my stuff right in front of the leak there. Feel free to use it as a stopper.
Well, listen, you have a good birthday.
I will.
It was good talking to you.
Same here, man.
I'll tell my mother you'll give her a call.
Exactly. Tell her to look either later today or tomorrow, but real soon to say thanks.
Just for the hell of it, if you feel like it, not that I'm advocating it, but your aunt might not be at work today anyway because of the weather.
Sweet.
She doesn't drive in this crap.
Good move. I am. I'm going to give her a shout now. I'm going to get a fresh cup of coffee. All right, cousin. Good hanging out. Man. Well, talk to you soon.
Good for you. You take care now. Huh? Enjoy the day.
I will. All right. Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Surely a little bit of gratitude is overdue.
That's my cousin Frank, yo. My man. Anyway. anywhere I can call him from Los Angeles, Chicago. I remember when my parents died both times. I was like, Frank. He's like, don't worry. You know, Rock of Gibraltar. All right, so we'll call in Florence up next. Ed Tyll Show. It is, it's my birthday. How about that? How does that work? Wikipedia never has my birthday right. First they had it early, then they had it late. I don't care. That's fine. You know what? It's it's an honor to be nominated.
We can take